Welcome back to the rest of the story. Well, we are done chisel plowing. Can you hear the relief in my voice when I say that? But yes, we are done. We are done, but not finished. But we're done. As in, the chisel plow is unhooked. It's not getting hooked back up. At least for the rest of the season. We're done. We are less than 10 acres from being done. The last 14 hours of running this chisel plow were not pleasant. It was literally pretty much just falling apart on me. It's built too light. We know that. But it's what we got, and we had no chiseling done last fall, and we covered a lot of ground in a very short amount of time. When I unhooked it, the last time we actually had used this thing was spring of 2019. That was the last time we had it hooked up. Every time I go through and put equipment away, I always go over everything to the best of my ability and grease it. And I like to keep because when you go through and put fresh grease in something when you put it away, it keeps the zerks from locking up, and you're not putting it away like full of dirt and everything else. But the gangs were good, the bearings were good, all the zerks were good, the shovels were all right. At the time, I figured we had at least one more season out of them, which is what we got out of them. But the shovels are shot. I was losing shovels. I lost 2 on, I think, the 3rd day that I ran it. I welded them on, or at least I welded the plow bolts on. It got us through the rest of the season. Didn't break any shanks. The shovels, I did break 1 shovel. I ended up having 2 flat tires in the chisel plow. I ruined 1 rim trying to get back home because I saw the tire was going flat, and I bugged out, got about halfway home, and the tire just completely went on me, and it was late at night. I had no one I could call, and I was literally like 1,000 feet from my driveway, and made a decision, and I went with it. So this chisel plow needs a bunch of work, but at least we're done with it. It did everything that we needed done, that we wanted done. The last less than 10 acres, Dad went out with the Earthmaster. He hit it twice. It looks great. It's going into corn as it is. I'm going to be cultivating and side dressing, so as most of you know, I know I do have a bunch of new subscribers. I will end up, when I cultivate, I do actually run it, and I basically do tillage with the cultivator in season because I like opening the soil up and getting air down to the roots of the corn plant. So, yes, we need something bigger. We need something more reliable. This thing has actually been on the farm for 6 years. It's done a pretty good job. I mean, my biggest complaint about this machine is the fact that it has that shaft across the back end that likes to bend and break and give you all sorts of nonsense. But the problem I was having is the tires, and I actually had 3 flat tires. I had 1 on the tractor, 2 on the tractor, and 2 on the chisel plow. But we had more issues with corn stalks going through the face of our tires this year than in the history of our farm ever. I don't know what the issue for that was, but it was getting old rather quick. So I did actually my finger was on the mouse, the clicker, on auction time. There was a 9-shank chisel plow. I think it was out in Iowa, maybe Illinois. It was one of the I states. It was a nice used chisel plow. It wasn't brand new, but it was definitely built heavier than this thing. But at the time, I'm glad I didn't buy it. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but I knew I was buying that rake. I hadn't bid on the rake or the sprayer that I bought at the time yet, and I knew I wanted the rake. And auctions are tricky. Just because you think you know what something will go for, it typically won't. But I ended up buying the rake, and I wasn't sure if I wanted that sprayer, and it was kind of down between, well, do I want a sprayer or do I want a chisel plow? And I ended up buying a sprayer because I feel like at the time I had better use for it. I did not realize that this chisel plow was going to give us as much trouble as it did this year. but at least we're done with it. We can go on to planting. We got a little bit more seed to put in the ground yet. Actually, I'm probably just going to spin it on by hand just because it really isn't worth driving 12 miles to put in literally a down and back pass. It's not worth the tire wear and the fuel use on the tractor. But working day and night to get our heavy tillage done in the spring. Not ideal, but we actually went through last year and we didn't do a lot of primary tillage because of the wet and the late planting as it was. But to be honest, I didn't like doing that. We got as much chiseling done as we could, but I actually feel like where we didn't chisel, it definitely showed on the yield. So that's why it was run around the clock, get it done. I mean, late nights and walking around in a haze is worth it in the long term. So, am I going to be looking for a bigger chisel plow? Yes. Am I going to be looking for something that is better suited for the 82? Absolutely. There was I want to say it was 11 shank Brilliant at the local auction that I bought the rake from. But that ended up going for like $9,500. A little bit too pricey for me, at least at this point in time. Especially with everything going on right now, everywhere. Trying to be a little bit more financially defensive until we figure out what's all going on going forward. So, trying to protect your checkbook. So, and like I said, chiseling is done. We don't have to worry about it till this fall. I am going to go through and get this one gone through and fixed up again, because even if we go through and try to resell it, like Ryan said, put it on Craigslist as a lightly used chisel plow and see if we get any takers. I'm not that mean. I mean, I might not be nice, but I'm not that mean. So, yeah, it's done a nice job, but if we end up having to use it this fall again, we will. I'll go through and it'll be back up to running condition again. I do grease it regularly. I was told I don't grease it enough. I have grease running out of those carriers morning and night. I think it's largely just because that shaft is already tweaked like a couple times already, and it's a no-win situation. I'm just going to leave it at that. So all my videos are kind of jumbled up, but going forward here, I'm going to get back into filming on the regularly. And until next time, take care, take it easy, keep in touch. I'll talk to you later.